As Tzu Chi's foreign language team volunteers, most of us have worked with people who work for Tzu Chi Foundation. And one of them is this young man that when I first met him, I noticed that he's very dedicated. There's this one time we couldn't find enough volunteers to help translate. So I saw him standing there translating for hours and hours, never saying that he's tired. And later on, I learned that he came back from America. He had a very good job in America, yet he decided to come back to Taiwan to work here, to work for Tzu Chi Foundation. And he has traveled to Pakistan to help the people there when disaster took place there. He has also traveled throughout Taiwan to help promote the musical adaptation of water repentance. 我们可不可以用最热烈的掌声欢迎黄成浩师兄来跟我们分享。
敬爱的德成师父 and everybody, it's indeed a very, it gives me tremendous pleasure to be able to give this lecture in English. Why? As you can probably tell that I'm a little bit stuck-tongued, and that's because I haven't speak English in such a long time. I actually came back about 2 years ago, and back then when I came back, I didn't think that there will be one day that I have to give a sharing completely in English. Never. I thought the English days were behind me. And I'm not sure what Siri was talking about when I was translating and I didn't tell anybody that I was tired. I'm sure I told somebody I was tired. Because translating and interpreting, I know, is one of the toughest job, toughest responsibility. And you guys take it with such an utmost energy, that with this energy level that I can never see, that I cannot see myself doing the same thing. So actually, it is very difficult for me, and you can probably tell with the level of nervousness that I'm here. But today, I'm giving you a little bit sharing about what I have felt, what I have experienced with respect to international relief. I came back 2 years ago, and I joined our beloved headquarters in Hualien, and the particular name of the department is called 宗教处. And a lot of people would ask, very first thing is, how do you put that in English? Now, if you say the department, if you say the religious department, people get turned off right away. Oh, hi, my name is Joe, and I'm from the religious department. Oh my God, I don't want to talk to you. Okay? Most people, they come to Tzu Chi. Most people, or whether, I think just Gloria was sharing, most people went to Neihu or anywhere, went to our schools, our university, our hospitals. When they talk to you and say, I'm from the religious department, I do not want to talk to you. I'm not here for religion. I'm not here to hear you preach. I'm here to learn about hospital. I'm here to learn about what you guys are doing with the environmental protection. I'm here to hear about your charity, your international relief, your bone marrow donation bank, not religion. Okay, so I thought about it. Okay, so anything religion goes out the window. Okay, it's not Department of Religious Affairs. Oh, that's even worse. Okay. So I started thinking about what we do. What we do. We actually, all we do is we serve. We serve our volunteers. Why? Because the volunteers are our biggest asset. If you think about Tzu Chi as an organization, as a company, what is our biggest asset? Our volunteers. This is our biggest driving force. Our energy all comes from our volunteers. Even Master, if you think about it, even our Master Cheng, our beloved Master Cheng, she derives her understanding. She derives her energy from every day's morning assembly, global volunteer assembly. And therefore, that's what we do. We have one particular department just dedicated for the service of volunteers. So I would like to call it the Department of Volunteer Service. And that's where I work. So I'm very happy to, so that's why whenever I get a call from anywhere and say, oh, Joe or Cheng Hao, we would like you to come and give a sharing. And I right away thought, oh, geez, what would I be doing on that day or that weekend? I thought about it. Like yesterday, I'm sure you all know, or a lot of you probably was very busy receiving guests from different countries, because yesterday was our 46th anniversary, right? So I'm sure there were a lot of friends, family, Dharma family coming back to Taiwan. And you all must be very busy. And so were we. We were very busy in Hualien. And I remember just Friday, we had finished the recording of one of the segments for the water repentance adaptation. And I got back to Hualien at around 1 a.m. and we had to wake up at around 3 for the pilgrimage, the bowing pilgrimage. And I just remember, oh, geez, why did I ever decided that I wanted to come to this sharing and speaking in English? My goodness, I haven't spoken English in such a long time. Why did I ever answer to Agnes say, yes, I'll do it? Why would I ever do that? And then I remember that that's my responsibility because we're in the Department of Volunteer Service. Okay? So with that, I would like to open that. And so do not feel awkward. Do not feel like, oh, he's somebody from Zhongjiao Chu. It's somebody very high, somebody that's only talk about religion, only talk about philosophy. No, I'm here to talk about how we can serve you, how we can help you to prepare you, how you can be a better tour person, how you can better prepare yourself so that when anybody comes through the door of Taoyuan International Airport, that you'll be able to tell them what they want to know, what they need to know. But I'm giving you, I'm sharing with you some of the examples that we can do. So first, I would like to share with you the beginning of international relief, how it came to be, when and how, under what circumstances did it happen, and also my personal experience, because I do believe that when Gloria was sharing, she did a lot of homework preparation. But a lot of times, we do not have that much information, especially for me, I have very poor memory. Even if you give me all that information, by the time I give out my handshake and you immediately tell me what your name is, I already forgotten what your name is. Because I'm thinking about, all right, where you need to go. Okay, what am I going to do next, right? So I shake the hand, and I'm going to tell you what's the best thing about Tzu Chi, what I want you to, what I think you need to know, etc. So one of the most thing that I learned, one of the most important thing that I learned was that personal experience comes as a very powerful, emotional way to affect, to influence the other people so that they can remember that, they could share with you, they can share that same sentiment as well. And also the core values, which we will probably skip at the end, because the core values are the things that if you start to talk about, people start to think that you're preaching. So that's why how we're going to tie in the core values with the personal sharing is the key on how we can relay what Master Cheng always tells us, yet without sounding like we're preaching. Okay, so the very beginning, how does international relief came to be? There are different ways for life to grow. There are different ways for seas to travel from one forest to another, from one continent to another. Space and time differences. How did life come to be? I ask myself this question. Why is it important? Because I think we need to know about how does an idea travel? And there's obviously the slow and controlled movement. What does that mean? It means that in Tzu Chi, whereas in anywhere, there's a controlled way to say, oh, Confucius, or Mencius, or Tzu Chi, or anything. Travel from country to country. The ideas can spread in a very orderly fashion. Yet, it could also be an uncontrollable way, such as last year, we have seen the spread of Arab Spring, right? Through internet. Things just start to happen without realizing, wow, this is actually happening on a global scale. People's lives are very, very much affected without us knowing what's going on. It all started with one person posting a story on the internet. And that's how it got started. That was completely uncontrollable. And I just recently heard about the story that Iran was going to build this national intranet, meaning that all the information will be controlled by the country itself. They have a intranet, basically all the information, like they will have their own version of Google, and they can search everything within this intranet. So then that information from the internet will not be able to get in. So that tells you that there are so many things that are uncontrollable in life that just speeds up this uncontrollable catalyst in life and ideas. And also there are the unforeseeable factors, which is what we want to discuss. In the very beginning, so I'm starting to tell the story of how Tzu Chi overseas began. In the very beginning, the way that we can transfer ideas was by people. I remember very early on, I'm sure some of you here are from the, familiar with the Northern California history. One of the very first seed It doesn't have to be United States. It could be Malaysia as well. It could just be one volunteer who was completely dedicated. And this person has a sense of responsibility. I would like to share this idea, such great idea, for example, what Gloria was talking about, this idea of environmental protection, or this very core essence of Tzu Chi, how to help others, how to help ourselves, this teaching of Master to where I live, to my friends, to my neighbors, to all the community around me. And that's how it got started. That's a controlled events. However, there are also events that are not controllable, such as disasters. And that's what we're going to be talking about as how it all got started. Tzu Chi Foundation in 1991, to give us a more brief perspective of what that means. 21 years ago, going back to environmental protection. When did it get started? 1990. 1990, right? Okay, making sure. I got it right. Okay, environmental protection started 1990, which means in 1991, it had just begun, the first year. In fact, if you remember Gloria's video, when Master first spoke of using our hands to do recycling, right? When that first happened, the people responded well. They have no idea what Master was talking about. They have no idea. In fact, after 22 years, Master once said that even she at the time did not know that today, what we have today in environmental protection, as well as dye technology, would be that she had envisioned all of this after 22 years as well. So back then, it had just begun. Very early stage. That was how long ago? 近思语, 近思 aphorism. It had just was about to gain popularity. People were starting to realize, oh wow, this is what Buddhism is all about. Or is it? It's so simple. It's something that we can actually apply, something that we can actually learn. And there are no very difficult Chinese characters that I have to look up in a dictionary. It's very simple. Also, General Hospital. I think Brother Stephen Lin was talking about this idea, this education mission. And it was built in 1986, and that was only 5 years. So we're only at the very early stage in 1991. So why am I talking about 1991? Obviously, it has something to do with international relief. What does it all mean? Because 21 years ago, the Green Movement, coupled with this grassroots movement, was just beginning to gain this momentum. Also, Dharma in practice, Buddhism in action, is slowly to stay deep-rooted in everybody's mind. Our medical mission, charity, was becoming to be very mature, and now we have our medical mission prepared. So what do we have? Master always tells us that whenever she finishes one milestone, before that, she will already give us one more milestone, one more target, one more objective, far and away, to prepare us so that none of us would be so, oh yeah, finally we're done. Finally, we're done with this. I'm sure all of you have this idea that there's this visitation group from, say, a different country. And finally, we receive them. Oh, yeah, after weeks of preparation, they're finally here. And we go through their accommodation, their traffic, their hotel, all the sites, all the different places they had to go and see, all the people that they go and meet and see, and all the translation. After all that's done, you're very happy. You're saying, great, I'm done. And now I have 1 week or 2 weeks to rest. But before that, I'm sure your lovely Zhu Zhang will call you up again and say, go, okay, do you have enough rest? No, I'm sure, but we have one more group coming in. Master does the same thing for all of us. She does not want us to idle. She does not want us to start to idle and think about, where should I go for my weekend? Because I have no group that I'm receiving. She wants us to constantly be on the move. So even when the hospital was only built for 5 years, even though environmental protection was only started for 1 year, even though Jing Si was just starting to gain popularity, she was prepared that we as a whole, we as an organization, was ready to make the next leap into the international stage. And timing is everything. Coupled with these two major facts, this became possible. This became what we knew as international relief. Factor one, Tzu Chi USA established, finally, registered in 1989. It was gaining, it was growing among the population among the Asian population in the US, especially in California. Why around this time was it gaining population? Precisely because people at that time, especially in the US, were having a very prosperous life. They're starting to think that, okay, once I have worked very hard, my whole life I have dedicated to this work, to my job, to my family. Now I want to more. Now I want to learn more. I want to know more about my spiritual side. I want to be connected with who I am. And all of this, coupled with American always showing their entanglement or engagement in world affairs. And of course, US in 1991 actually had already begun their first national fundraising activity. And that was for the Persian Gulf War. Okay, Persian Gulf War for the children. They had already done that. So that they were ready. They were on the international stage and they were ready. Now what do we need? We need a triggering event. And this triggering event was in Bangladesh. There was a cyclone that was almost as devastating as the tsunami back in 2004. And you can see that 140,000 people perished during that time. This was the tipping point. We were ready. All the affinities, everything was ready. The people were ready. We have the right techniques. We have the right philosophy. We were ready. We were waiting for something, and this came to us. And so we begin to mobilize. Master Cheng received a call from Brother Stephen Huang at the time, who was the CEO of the U.S. chapter. And he said that we were ready to make this, we're ready to have this fundraiser so that we're ready to pull together all of our loves from the US. We're ready. And so Master says, okay, if you're ready, we are ready too. We will now begin mobilize all of our volunteers, and that's how it began. Each person buys one less piece of bread and donate 10 NT, $10 NT. Now, if you think back, this was happening in 1991, 21 years ago. Has this slogan changed much? Not really. I think towards the end of Gloria's presentation, we heard about the most recent slogan that we have, which is what? 80% and 20%, right? Okay? So it's the same idea. In fact, if you go back even further to before 1966, what was Master Cheng talking about? That when we take up this basket to go to the market, how does each one of the housewives tell the vendors? What do they tell them? I want to buy one less ounce, one less strand, and all that money will go to save people. All that money will go to help people. So some things never change. Even the U.S. slogan, one person, $1. Now they're promoting power of 5. So the only thing that has changed is what? Inflation. But everything else remains the same. From one person, $1, to now power of 5. What can you do with $5? So now globally, with this US as well as Taiwan, that was the first time Taiwan had pulled together our energy, our compassion and love, and sent it overseas to help people. And total raise fund reached $150,000 back then. And that was then. That was how it all got started. Master Cheng back then said, we live in the same world, covered by the same sky, lifted by the same earth. And while some live in favorable conditions, there are those that are plagued constantly by poverty, war, natural disasters, and famine. Has this changed much? This hasn't changed a bit either. And that's why Master always says, we're running out of time. Because the frequencies and the strength, the frequency and the power of each natural disasters are gaining. But are we gaining enough people? Are we adapting to this world of even ever more disasters? And so she said, for those of us that are fortunate enough to live in peaceful and favorable places, we should actively commit to charity. Can we do that? Yes. Right now, today, the closest estimate, we have 7 billion people on this planet. 7 billion. 1 billion of which are what? Are are constantly plagued by hunger. They're in famine. So think about this. Can we actually, so 7 billion, 1 billion have shortage of food. So that means what? 6 billion at least have no problem with food. And isn't that what this is saying? For those of us that are fortunate enough, 6 billion, we should actively commit to charity. And that's what she's trying to tell us back then already. And we can, and we probably should. And this is the power. This is what we should do. We are like a drop of water. All by ourselves, we will just dry up in the sun. We'll just dry up on the cement. But if we pull ourselves together, if we pull all this energy together, we can make a difference. And this has now got us into the age of inspire. Oh, a lot of people hear this. A lot of people realize that, yes, we have finished building the hospital. Yes, we have now advanced into the next stage of Jing Si Yu. Okay, people now begin to understand, oh, so what I do, and also Dharma, Buddhist Dharma are now combined. And yes, all these things, environmental protection, people are beginning to be able to do more with their hands, with their time. So now, people are beginning to be very inspired. There are more things in the world that we have to worry about, that we have to care about, than just picking up the bottles, or than just finish up this hospital. There are more people out there. And so, collectively, all these people that are sharing all these disasters stem from all this insatiable human mind. Collectively, we can now try to overcome it. And we can do that with our mind and also with our love and compassion. Together, we will rise above this collective karma. And this began a new age. Yet, this new age that we enter, does that mean that it was just smooth sailing all the way? No, it's not. In Tzu Chi, I'm sure you know, it's never just about you willing to do something. In Taiwan, we have shared the same experience, that even if you're ever so willing to want to help people, does that mean that the recipient will automatically let you help? No, it doesn't. Because you have to earn their trust, because you have to show your sincerity. Can this newfound inspiration withstand the test of deep-rooted political views? The very next year, 1992, there was a huge flood in China. Right away, you know, oh, this is a touchy subject. I'm sure all of you are very trained in this area, because when we have international guests coming through the door, they will probably be asking about Taiwan, China, what's your stance? But when we start to talk about this, how can we convey that this deep-rooted views, this deep-rooted difference, how can we try to share with people? How do we bridge that? When we ourselves as volunteers might not even understand, okay? So, of course, there were people, they were asking. I'm sure a lot of you probably heard about this when Turkey earthquake happened. What did people say? Where's Turkey? Okay, not Turkey the bird, but where's Turkey? Point it out to the map. Where is it? Why should we help that place? Or China, why should we help them? They're our mortal enemies. Why should we help them? Back then. So how can we withstand that? I'm sure then these are the tools that Master gave us. These are the vocabularies that I looked up to make sure that we would be able to use them. 诚正信实,慈悲喜舍. Master told us that from within, we need to cultivate our honesty. Our actions must be upright. We must maintain the trustworthiness and also always be sincere. Show our sincerity. However, when we are committed to all of the actions, we must remember to have loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. The last one will go in a little bit more further. So, can this really bridge the gap? Can this really fix all the problems? I remember last year, in the flood in the Philippines, there was a delay. I think it was show up on the news. There was a delay in sending the rice over. And so what happened? By the day of distribution, we do not have the necessary rice that we have promised. So what we do, our volunteers went to tell all of them, who were all very disappointed. We told them, do not worry. Please believe us. Please trust us. We will come back on this day, and we will make sure that we have all the necessary material for you that we have promised. And they believed. And so why did they believe? Because before we tell them that, they already know about Tzu Chi. We introduced to them what Tzu Chi is all about, that all the funding had come from all the people all over the world. They might not even know you. They do not know they might not even know where Philippines are. Where is it on the earth? But they know somebody on the different part of the world might need this help, and therefore they donated this money. Even people from Haiti donated money. So they understand, and they understand the issues of environmental protection. They understand that all our blankets come from PET bottles. And no, they didn't ask what PET stands for. But all those time, they believed. And we went back and we showed them, yes, we are worthy of your trust. We are worthy of your belief, of your faith. And not only that, when they came back, what did they bring? They bring plastic bottles. They bring plastic bottles because they know that's what we use to make more blankets to help people. Okay? So all this trustworthiness was able to propel us forward. So do we need to help Turkey? Do we need to help any other place? When there are so many people in Taiwan also needing help, I'm sure you get a lot of the same questions as well, not just from our foreign visitors, but also from our family members, from our friends, from our neighbors. Why do you need to do this? Why are you doing this? Why are you spending so much money in helping Japan relieve from their, providing relief to Japan after their tsunami and earthquake? Why? When we can spend that money in Taiwan. Why? Did you know that we had raised 2 billion NT dollars? And it was very high in the global sense, because all those money were going to Japan for Tzu Chi Foundation. And can you believe the pressure of people asking, why can't we spend that money here? Why can't we just help make this community, make this neighborhood a better place? So how do we answer that? How do we answer that? What if there's somebody up in the mountains, in the slum area, and needing help? Why wouldn't you not help them? So how would you answer that? Let me ask you this question. How would you answer that? You will be nodding your head. Yeah, I don't know why, but you completely agree with them, right? I mean, that's being a very good volunteer. Whatever they say, we agree, right? I once heard a story that was by our department head, Zachary, Xie Jingui. If I use his English name, I don't think anybody knows who he is. Akwe. And he said, yeah, when people ask these questions, how do you answer? But when they ask one of our volunteers, what if there's somebody needing help right now? Would you still take the money and send it overseas to help somebody in China? Would you still send some money overseas to God knows where, Afghanistan? We don't even know the language they speak, right? And they are completely in different religion. Why should we help them? And this volunteer right away said, oh, there's somebody that needs help? Tell me where that person is. I will go help right away. That is the effort. That is our dedication of our volunteers. However, does this happen all the time? No, it doesn't happen all the time. What does that mean? It means that if somebody asks you this question, you cannot just say, oh, where's that person? I'll go help right away. We still need to be able to answer, to respond to this question. So what can we say? It's very simple. A lot of people, like all of us here, we mostly speak English, but in a different classroom, there's a different group that speaks Japanese, right? So would you ask that group of volunteers to come into this room to listen to a complete speech in English? No, you wouldn't. Same idea. Different things needs different people to accomplish, and different things have different time frame. For example, people that have committed themselves to international relief, all those people, their mind, their mindset, their views are worldly. They're more grandeur. They actually understand that what we need to do. Their skill sets, their preparedness have prepared them for all the different things that are not foreseeable when they have gone out to a different country, when they have gone out to a foreign soil. And they are ready to do these things. Yet at the same time, if you ask them to come to Taiwan to help, they will not be able to. It needs to be done at the same time. Because when you have a Taiwan that is completely prosperous, and you have an international community that is not, do you really think that Taiwan will stay forever prosperous? No. For example, how much of our rice is imported? And how much of the rice in the whole world is affected by one single tsunami, by one single typhoon, by one single drop in Celsius degree in, say, Myanmar, in, say, Thailand? All those places. If we do not help them, it's going to impact ourselves sooner or later. So this is the global view. I think Brother Stephen Lin also talked about education. We have taught our students all the right ways. So then they are very proper. So when they go out to the society, they will be upright. They will do all the right things. But does that mean that they get pushed around? I think one of the teachers responded, I think we have to make sure our children, our kids from our school do not push other people around. And that's our goal. We have to make sure that even if you just focus on your own children, on your own child, okay, I give you the lessons of violin, I give you piano lessons, and I give you the best of the best education. And while do not worry, do not think about other children, other community, other schools, you are very advanced, that's great. But just like unforeseeable future, untold future, you do not know what would happen. The society, because of other children, it's going downhill. How long can you maintain your prosperous life? Just like what Master said one time, the mosquitoes, they do not differentiate between the rich and the poor, right? With the Indonesian flood in 1998, the story of the Angke River, I remember back then, all these rich entrepreneurs come back to Taiwan. They are really upset. They do not want to help the local Indonesians. They do not know what to do. And so Master told them, do you think the mosquito will make a difference between a rich people and a poor person? No, they will not. They will just sting you all the same. So if you do not help them, you're not helping yourself. Even if you put yourself in this completely shielded place, there's no telling when you step out the door, you might just get stung by the very thing that you could have helped prevent it. So all these are the ideas that we have to that we have to understand why we have to help the world, because we are in essence helping ourselves. And that's why the subtitle of my sharing is called the Ambassador of Love. Because not only are we helping them, we're also branding Taiwan as the exporter of love, as a specialty of compassion. And therefore, that's truly when our new age has begun. So that's how it began. Now, let's see how we will continue. Fast forward to now, the 21st century. Now, beginning my own personal sharing, my personal involvement, Haiti earthquake in 2010. I'm sure to a lot of you, Haiti, where's Haiti? If you have lived in the United States, to you, Haiti, okay, yeah, you have heard of them. Just like my Chinese typing, because I use pinyin. So whenever I type Haiti, the first thing that always comes up is Haiti, because Haiti is not something that's very recognized worldwide. So my pinyin dictionary always comes up as Haiti. But it's true. To us, it's completely almost like they might as well be in the bottom of the ocean. We don't know where it is. All we know is there was this huge and devastating earthquake that happened in 2001. And it was so bad that the only thing that they can reconstruct afterwards were these houses that were made of wooden sticks. They're not cement blocks. They're not even pillars that's worthy of the sizes are worthy of a tree trunk. No, this is even worse than a tree. It's made up with small, simple wooden sticks. And these are considered good ones. Why? Because after the earthquake, all the resources became very, very few. So what can they do? If you can find these to help yourself build your own home again, you have to consider yourself very fortunate. These houses, if you look up and close, which I had a chance to, when I see these houses, and the local volunteers told me, Joe, did you know that that's one of the more lucky ones? They're able to rebuild their houses. At least it resembled the shape of a house. When I went up closer, you might not be able to see clearly from this because it's so hard to detect. But within this frame, within this structure of these wooden sticks, you see barbed wires. You see barbed wires. And I was asking, I was thinking to myself, what is the use of barbed wires? What is the main use? To keep things out, right? To keep things out. And so I asked the local volunteer, why would they have barbed wires here? Why? Is it because they're trying to protect their property? And the local volunteer said, yes, this is their home. Of course they have to have barbed wires. But I could see immediately that there's nothing for me to take. It's empty. It doesn't even have a floor. It's empty. I can see right away. Why do you need barbed wires to protect nothing? And so the volunteer says, this is not nothing. This is their home. They have to have a feeling of home. This is that important to them. This was Haiti. This was a newborn child. And you can see that the hand of our doctor caring for this newborn child was actually much bigger. In fact, it's bigger than the skull of this child. I remember the story when I was there. In one of our free clinic lines, one pregnant lady came with a little girl. And the little girl was very cheerful, was very sunshine. Had a very sunshine personality, came over and started to play with our volunteers. But this pregnant lady came to our free clinic and asked our doctor. So our doctor started to ask, oh, so how long, how many months now, and et cetera, et cetera. And so this lady said, the last time I actually felt the baby was 2 weeks ago, and that was when the earthquake struck. But since then, I haven't felt any kick, and I really wanted to know what happened. So I wonder if you can help me, because this little girl is very much waiting for this little brother to come out. And basically, it was completely just like a mother, right? Motherly love, and is really worried about the child, the infant in her womb. And so our doctor listened in with the stethoscope, didn't hear anything, didn't know how to tell her, but wanted to make sure. So the doctor asked 2 more doctors to come over to make sure, to check for all the possible signs. And we told them that right now we are not able to hear anything, but it could be because we don't have enough instruments. And the little girl and the mother, they were very hopeful. They said, oh no, don't worry. I think it's okay. Because I have, the mother had carried a child before. So she said, this happens all the time. It's okay. Maybe just, not reacting well to all my movements. Maybe just all these time I'm just too nervous. I didn't really feel it, but it's really actually, kicking in very well. So the mother went back. Later on, we found out from the other volunteers, they were playing with the little girl, that she had an older sister. During the earthquake, the building came down, and the concrete wall fell on her sister. And at the time that they were together, their hands were holding together. And that was all the things that she remembered, was that was the very one thing that was giving her strength and courage to go on. But as days go on, nobody came to help. More and more, at first, she was able to hear some of the voices, from some of the sounds from her older sister, and telling her, it's okay, somebody will come and get us. But she didn't know how bad the situation was. And eventually, it came to a point where she can feel the strength was slowly ebbing away from the grip. And eventually, she couldn't feel the grip. When she was rescued, she knew what had happened to her sister. But she remained very sunshine, remained very cheerful, because she knew that this happened, it's okay. The sister had gone to a better place, and a little brother is coming. So nobody could bear to tell her the news. Weeks and weeks later, the mother come back again, and our doctor did more diagnosis, but we still do not have the right, the sonograms to actually directly picture what had actually happened inside. But we don't know. So we can still give the same answer. We don't know what happened. Okay, please, we're doing everything that we can to make sure the mother is healthy. And after all that, one time, finally, towards the end of March, beginning of April, the mother came back. The mother came back with this newborn baby. And we were all so shocked. How is this possible? How is this possible? None of our doctors could be able to detect the signals of life. Yet, the life came out. Why? Because there was hope. And I do not want to give you any more, any of this feeling of superstition. But it's not. It's more about that there was hope in even, that there is hope in even the things that we see as completely hopeless. Why? It's because hope is what we see when we look beyond the obstacles. For all those things that none of the people think was possible, when all the things that all the doctors had deemed that this baby was dead inside the womb, this boy came out alive, well and kicking. And so I took this picture, actually connecting to the next story. I took this picture in Pakistan. That day, that morning, we had gone through a week, complete 1 week of very intense schedule to make sure that we set up all the preparation for our distribution. And that day was distribution. We had to wake up very early in the morning, and we had to drive our usual small minibus to the site of distribution. And because it was very early morning, it was all in the dark, and all of a sudden when I see this sunshine coming out, and I just thought that I gotta take this picture because it really shows that perhaps the worst is over. Perhaps if you always have that hope, some things will always be possible. Indeed, Project Hope, or the Happy Campus program, our volunteers began in Haiti to help more, not just those victims, but also helping to rebuild. I'm sure Gloria mentioned about the nuns from the church from Haiti, who the Tzu Chi are helping to reconstruct the 3 schools for this church. And not only that, but we're also helping to reshape the future. You can see that we're helping not just the volunteers, not just educating the volunteers to say how we should help them, but we're also bringing up the next generation to let them know how to be a good person, how to help others, and how to stand upright. Because even though you're a victim, but provided with enough possible opportunities, with enough hope, that we will all be able to see a much better time ahead. Pakistan flood. 2010 and 2011 was the 2 years that we were most seriously engaged in the flood. In fact, the flood happens every year, just like Thailand, but we do not know. But it was in 2010 that it gotten so bad that we realized this is something that we need to do. You see all these makeshift tents. They were displaced because of flood. Yet when they displaced themselves, where did they go? They go near the river. They have to go near a river because water is our source of life. So they had to return to the river to continue their lifestyles. Yet this is the country, even in the biggest city, in Karachi, the biggest city, you can still see somebody lying on the street, sleeping there, helpless. So that's why even around the outskirts of the city, you see all these people. You see a goat. You see all these goats, goat and dogs, wild dogs, in the city. And this is their life. They're sitting there. They don't know what to do. They don't know what the next step of their life is. They do not know where to go. This is the baby. I'm sure, I think a lot of you have seen this picture before. Once again, a just born baby, but the mom and the dad cannot afford. They do not have a house to live in. So the only thing that they can do is in their tent, they have to build up a smaller tent just so that they can help to shield this newborn child from the elements. And that's it. But we believe that all these darkness can be dispelled by this one ray of hope. This was when we reach Karachi, when we reach Pakistan, we start to tell all these young people, hey, we can do something more to help us. You guys are now receiving this education. You can do more. We have this power. We have to help more. And therefore, all these people mobilize. Whether you are educated in the college or you're in the more rural area, we start to mobilize, and all these blankets, we tell them all these blankets come from our environmental protection volunteers. It comes from PET bottles. And all these people made it possible to have all these blankets to be given out. And amazing things happen. These people, Pakistan is not known for lining up. And so you can see that it was amazing. The local authorities tell us that, can you believe that they're lining up? We cannot believe them because this had never happened before. All these people line up just to enter into this storage hall warehouse so then they can sit in rows, properly waiting for somebody to sing the Tzu Chi Gong de Hui Hui, which they do not understand anything about. And when we start anytime that we talk about Tzu Chi, they clap their hands. They have no idea what we're talking about, but they share our enthusiasm. They know that there is hope. They know that these people brought something with them. They brought hope. They brought a possibility for the future. And this is something that's something that struck me very, very deeply. This is their police force, and these are the people that help make sure that we were safe. I look at this police vehicle and I don't feel safe. And not just that, okay, this is the vehicle that you can see that was very rusted. They do not have enough funding. They do not have enough funding to go into their social programs. They do not have enough funding to go into their police and also peacekeeping efforts. I'm showing this picture. This car looks better, but the main point isn't the truck. The main point is this police officer. Yes, he's carrying a semi-automatic, okay? But that's not the point. The point is he's wearing what? Sandals, slippers. And I'm thinking, with all these people that we're helping, if one person started to say, hey, I want to have more of this, when people are starting to run and starting to push and shove, can he really get to me in time? Or is he going to try to go back and pick up his lost sandals? And that's something that I found to be very scary. But I see their sincerity. I see that at that moment, when all the people realize why we're there, when all the people realize what Tzu Chi Volunteer and what Tzu Chi Foundation has brought for them, it has united people that had higher education, a very possibly very good future, with the people in the more outskirts areas, living in the more slum areas together to help these victims. They see a hope. They see a possible change. The Philippines in 2011, I think the Philippines is by no means have any shortage of natural disasters in the past years. This was taken from a helicopter, and because of the vast scale of the water damage, you can see that a lot of these houses were already submerged. And so we were able to also get to different sites. We were also to get on site. We had to get on these huge garbage trucks because it's high enough that we were able to go through some water. So when we see this, and this picture was to show you not the fact that they're all very rich and they have all drive these very nice vehicles, but that the water level was this high before. So a lot of their things have gone bad. A lot of things have gone to waste already because of this flood, and it had already damaged a lot of people. Yet, these are the pictures of the temporary shelters. This classroom shelters 16 families. 16 families. Okay, you see all these children. Good things at least that they're grouping the children together so that they can do their own activities together. But we definitely see that compassion and love will melt away because all of these were eventually possible, that they're able to see some hope. Our volunteers were able to get there. And through all these different cases, different scenarios, what have we seen? What has changed in the 20 years since the beginning of international relief? There's higher frequency and with more force. And also, our natural resources are very quickly drying up. And not just natural resources. How many people can we actually dispatch and send to overseas to help when there are so many things happening at the same time? I remember last year, in April, there were over 700 tornadoes in 1 month. There were more than 100 tornadoes in one single day. How many people, how many volunteers do you have to mobilize to reach out to all the people that were affected? How many people? Not just the natural resources are drying up. People are getting tired. People are drying up as well. This was the picture from the Pakistan flood, taken from the Pakistan flood. you can see that to these people, the way out is up. The way out is to grab on as hard as you can onto this helicopter that is going to leave. And for all of us here, we were only seeing this picture. We'll only look at this picture as what? As a picture. As a story of another person. As a complete different alternate reality. When we see this on TV, when we see this on the TV news, on the evening news, after about 5 seconds showing this picture, what do you do next? Oh, okay, I got it. I switch the channel. Your reality changes right away. Your reality changes from 1 second to the next. You have the right to choose. You're fortunate enough to choose. For those people that are in this picture, for the things that they're experiencing right now, they have no right to choose. They can't just pick up a remote control and say, I want a better life, and change. It doesn't happen. So what can we do? People find safe harbor in ignorance. If when they realize that, oh, all these things are happening, if I just close my eyes, if I just turn away, it will not happen. It still happens to them. You just don't know about it. So what can we do? It's the job of all the volunteers here that when visitors come, we have to tell them what's happening in the world. We have to be very updated with what's going on in yesterday's news, in today's news. And that's why in every morning in the Global Volunteer Assembly, Master always takes about 10 minutes or so to go through what's happening on today's news. I'm sure if you are able to watch the assembly online, you will be able to find out that, oh, why is she going through all the things? Oh, earthquake here, India here, or there was a avalanche in the Kashmir region, etc. Why is she going through all that? She wants to keep us remembered. She wants to make sure that all these things are remembered. She wants to make sure that you don't just turn it away. She wants to know that once she said it, maybe some of her disciples will pick it up. Maybe somebody will just remember, just like 22 years ago, that one volunteer from that one single talk. How do we do volunteer? How do we do environmental protection? She went back and she decided that I'm going to do recycling. That's started from that one person. So it is our job to make sure, how can we inspire that seed from that person? Inspiration. Let me just quickly go through these innovations. We have developed many different things. Master had helped us to make sure that as more and more disasters are coming about, what we can do to make sure that we have more tools to adapt. We have instant rice, we have instant noodles, and even this picture here, we have developed a way to ship all of our instant rice from our storage down to the first floor so it could be packaged. This was back at the abode, and all the people up here or down here, I should have sent a different picture, are actually our masters of the abode. And they're doing this. They're sweating. They're shipping all these boxes of instant rice to help Haiti. This was back then when we were shipping all these rice to Haiti. And this instant rice, all the nutrition facts were all written in Arabic. And so, let me very quickly. So what can we do? We could have a simple life so others can simply live. And that was a very simple statement, yet powerful. If others cannot simply live, that must mean that our lives are not simple enough. So echoing back to what Gloria has said before, echoing with what Master is continuing to try to tell us, we can have a simpler life. We can climb the stairs instead of taking escalators or elevators. We can eat 80% so that we can help with the 20% we can use to help other people. Water is Dharma and water repentance. I think we might not have enough time to go through this, but all that we're trying to tell and share with everybody here, we all have this responsibility. In fact, we have to. This is not just a responsibility, but it's our mission. It's our obligation. So one of the best techniques, I think Gloria shared a very good way, the 5 W's. You have to prepare yourself. I give you one more tip to add on to this already very wonderful set of rules that you can follow. The story that I share about Haiti, it's not personal. I wasn't there. It was completely told to me by a different person. There were many facts, there were many things that I left out because I wasn't there. Yet, what we could do is that we can make these stories, remember them, get the essence, and remember them, and make them personal. Just like we do not want to just flip this remote control and it becomes somebody else's reality. We want to learn about the stories. We have so many stories in our Tzu Chi monthly magazine. Read them. Find this story, read about them. When you talk about a specific country, when you see a poster with this picture, what you can do is make it into a story, make it engaging with other people. So then when they hear this, it will stay hard and clear in their mind. And that's what we should do. When we tell a good enough story about something that happened, they at least will walk away remembering about this. So if, just like what Gloria said, if you don't remember anything that was said by me in the past hour, it's okay. But at least remember, pick up one story that you feel really touches your heart. Because only when something that touches you deeply, only that happens, then you can touch the other person deeply as well. So please keep that in mind, and we can always remember, we can always find more good stories in our very wonderful magazines and all the books, and also online resources as well. Thank you very much for giving me this time. And